Welcome to Historical Insights. Before we dive in, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Today we're discussing Israel, a small Middle Eastern country on the Mediterranean Sea with 9.4 million residents and an unexpectedly robust economy. It's surprising because Israel faces significant challenges, both economically and geopolitically. The country has historically struggled with hostile neighbors, making cooperation with surrounding nations difficult. Typically, economies thrive through regional trade, but Israel lacks that advantage. It must allocate a substantial part of its budget to defense and relies heavily on overseas trade. Although ocean routes are effective, having additional land routes, such as oil pipelines, would be ideal. Israel also faces resource limitations. It has minimal natural resources, arable land, and a relatively small population, making low-cost manufacturing difficult. In 2009, over 5% of Israel's GDP was spent on energy imports, making the economy vulnerable to suppliers who were often unfriendly. This dependence hindered growth since a large portion of capital was flowing out of the country just to maintain basic operations. Yet despite these challenges, Israel is now one of the world's wealthiest and most advanced economies, with higher economic output than neighboring countries and even surpassing nations like Canada, Germany, and the UK. Remarkably, Israel's economy was, not long ago, in a precarious state similar to Turkey, Pakistan, and Lebanon, marked by political instability, inflation, and stalled growth. These issues are notoriously difficult to overcome, but Israel managed to turn its situation around. So, how did Israel transform from economic instability into one of the richest countries? What strategies fueled its development, and could these methods be applied to other nations facing similar struggles? And could Israel's economic success be nearing its end? Once we explore these questions, we'll add Israel to the national leaderboard. Israel's modern economy began taking shape in the mid-1980s. At the time, inflation soared beyond 350%, rendering the Israeli shekel virtually worthless. Citizens resorted to using foreign currencies, especially the US dollar, which created new problems. When a country operates on foreign currency, the government loses control over its fiscal policies. Raising taxes in US dollars would have further diminished confidence in the shekel, while taxing in shekels would have yielded a currency with diminishing value, forcing the government into more money printing, and inflation would worsen. Typically, central banks control inflation by managing the money supply and raising interest rates. However, this only works if the central bank operates independently of the government. In recent years, Turkey demonstrated how government interference in central banking can exacerbate inflation. Although Turkey's central bank attempted to raise interest rates, the government forced them to lower rates to stimulate business growth and employment, ultimately worsening inflation. A stable currency builds economic confidence, but by 1984, inflation in Israel reached an alarming 370%. Few trusted the shekel, and without confidence in the currency, the economy remained paralyzed. In 1985, Israel replaced its failing shekel with the new Israeli shekel, NIS, as part of a broader stabilization plan. The mere introduction of a new currency wasn't enough. Citizens needed assurance that this currency wouldn't suffer the same fate as the previous one. Additionally, the central bank was granted full independence to prevent political interference. Government spending, a significant driver of inflation, was also reduced. This cutback strategy limited the money supply, reduced consumer demand, and stabilized prices over time. The government allowed the new shekel's value to fall on international markets, making Israeli goods cheaper and more competitive globally. Though this devaluation temporarily increased inflation, it was necessary to restore trust in the national currency. By the late 1980s, inflation had returned to manageable levels, and domestic trade was once again conducted in Israeli currency. Leveraging resources for economic growth. Israel's economic rebound provided the foundation for growth. In 1987, with a GDP per capita of $9,000, Israel's economy still lagged behind the United States but was poised for rapid expansion. The discovery of offshore natural gas reserves reduced dependence on foreign energy, making Israel self-sufficient in energy production. However, the country didn't rely solely on exporting natural resources. Tourism also plays a role, with millions of visitors flocking to Israel's religiously significant sites every year. But surprisingly, tourism accounts for just 2% of Israel's GDP, a testament to the country's broader economic strength. The true driver of Israel's prosperity lies in its highly educated workforce and investment in innovation. Today, Israel spends more on research and development than even advanced economies like the United States. The role of technology and innovation. Israel's economy thrives on advanced industries, including semiconductor production, military technology, and diamond processing. The country has earned the nickname Silicon Wadi, referencing Tel Aviv's status as a global innovation hub, comparable to Silicon Valley. Israel attracts international companies that set up research centers and manufacturing facilities, capitalizing on the nation's skilled workforce. To foster innovation, the government encouraged private investment by offering tax incentives and interest-free loans. Unlike many countries, Israel managed to balance government support with private initiative, minimizing corruption risks. This approach allowed Israel to develop cutting-edge industries without burdening the public budget. In the 1990s, Israel further benefited from the arrival of nearly 1 million highly skilled immigrants from the former Soviet Union. These professionals bolstered Israel's technological capabilities, contributing to the country's rapid growth. A model for other economies? Israel's economic success story demonstrates that even countries facing severe challenges can achieve prosperity through sound economic management. The combination of currency reform, fiscal responsibility, and investments in education and technology has made Israel one of the most dynamic economies in the world. Economics Explained National Leaderboard. Size. Israel's GDP stands at $488 billion, ranking it 29th globally, earning a 7 out of 10. Productivity. With a per capita GDP of $52,000, Israel outperforms countries like Canada, Germany, and Japan, earning an 8 out of 10. Stability. Despite geopolitical challenges, Israel has built investor confidence, scoring a 6 out of 10. Growth. With an annual growth rate of nearly 7%, Israel earns a 9 out of 10. Industry. Israel's diverse and high-value industries secure it an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content.